This small town case holds a secret so explosive it shattered an entire police department. The real reason it took 20 years to solve this crime will leave you questioning everything. You must stick around until the end to discover the one piece of evidence that broke the case wide open and shocked the entire nation. The town of Ozark still breathes in whispers. Even after all these years, the name of that small Alabama town carries the sound of rain against tin roofs and the quiet hum of secrets that refuse to stay buried. When the night wind rolls down Herring Avenue, the air changes like it remembers. It remembers headlights cutting through the dark, two voices singing along to a radio, and a black Mazda that never found its way home. It remembers July 31st, 1999, when J.B. Beasley turned 17 and the world was still supposed to be kind. No one expected tragedy to bloom from something so ordinary. A birthday party, a road trip, best friends who promised their mothers they wouldn't be late. J.B. Hilton Green Beasley, bright, restless, full of music and motion. Tracy Jean Hollett, quiet, steady, always looking out for everyone else. They were cheerleaders, dreamers, daughters, living in a world small enough to feel safe. But that night, directions turned into detours, and the familiar turned into something that would haunt the town forever. People still talk about that car, the way it sat, perfectly parked on the side of the road, like someone had left it there neatly out of respect. The windows were half down, the tank was nearly empty, the keys were gone. The purses inside held everything that mattered: money, makeup, IDs, photographs, but not the girls who owned them. For 6 long hours, officers circled the car, debating how to open the trunk. When they finally did, the summer night froze solid. The two best friends lay side by side, still dressed, faces calm but lifeless, the kind of calm that only death gives. Both with bullet wounds in the head. No signs of robbery, no sign of assault, just execution in silence. The story of their last night scattered quickly through the town like broken glass. No one dared sweep away. They had gotten lost on their way to a party, called home from a payphone, asked a stranger for directions. Nothing about that seemed extraordinary, but by morning, it became a horror story that would consume Ozark's next 2 decades. For weeks, the police retraced the girls' path through Headland and Dothan, gathering fingerprints, witnesses, and rumors. None of it made sense. Then a man walked into the police station and said he'd seen it all. His name was Johnny William Barentine. 28 years old, local, confused, and trembling. He claimed he'd been out buying milk for his toddler when he stumbled across something terrible. A tattooed man, a struggle. 2 girls moved into a trunk, weapon shots. He changed the story every time he spoke it like a song he couldn't remember all the words to. The police wanted closure more than truth, so they believed him. They arrested him, held him without bond, and told the town the life taker had been caught. But the science refused to agree. The DNA from JB's clothes didn't match his. The semen traces weren't his. When the truth came out, he was released after 3 months of confinement, publicly cleared, privately ruined. He had lied for attention, for reward money, for reasons even he couldn't explain. But Ozark was hungry for a villain, and he had fed that hunger for a while. When he left the jail, the real life taker was still walking free. Time passed like water under a bridge clogged with grief. Leads came and went, a white pickup truck caught on a grainy camera, a man from Michigan who couldn't explain his missing hours, another drifter from Mississippi questioned and released. Each new name was a hope, each dead end another wound. Mothers prayed, reporters speculated, detectives aged. The town learned to live with ghosts, but never with peace. Then came the whispers darker than any rumor before them. In 2015, Rena Crum, a police officer once sworn to uphold the law, accused her own department of covering up the life takers. She claimed an Ozark cop had unalived the girls to protect a secret involving drugs and cassette tapes, evidence that could have exposed corruption within the ranks. She said she'd been warned, harassed, silenced. She named names: Chief Tony Spivey, Officers Rex Tipton, Eddie Henderson, Gary Butch Whittington. She claimed they had buried the truth under lies and intimidation. Her words spread like fire through the town. Some believed her instantly, others said she was chasing ghosts that didn't exist. Soon came the lawsuits, the denials, the retractions. She was beaten and later forced to retract parts of her story in court. Yet, even after the lawsuits were dismissed, the damage was done. The people of Ozark no longer trusted their protectors. The police, once symbols of safety, now looked like shadows behind badges. For the families, hope became a cruel habit. Every year, anniversaries reopened the wound. Every time a cold case TV show revisited the story, the phone would ring with strangers offering theories. The mothers of J.B. and Tracy grew older, their smiles brittle with exhaustion. Still, they waited for the knock on the door that would finally bring an end to wondering who and why. That knock came 20 years later, not from an officer, but from science. In 2019, the cold case detectives sent old evidence, clothing, biological samples to Parabon Nanolabs in Virginia, a place where DNA is turned into portraits and bloodlines. The machines drew a genetic trail, a family tree that ended with one man, Cole Lewis McRaney. McRaney was the kind of man small towns love to forget. A former Air Force member, once a youth leader, later a bishop who co-founded a church. He lived less than a mile from where the bodies had been found. He had no criminal record apart from child support troubles. When the police stopped him in Daleville that March night, his calmness unnerved them. They told him his DNA matched the samples from JB's body. He denied knowing the girls. His eyes didn't flinch, his voice didn't shake, but genetics doesn't care about tone. For Ozark, the revelation was like exhaling after 2 decades underwater. For the families, it was relief wrapped in new agony. The arrest meant the story wasn't folklore anymore, it was real. It had a face. But it also meant reliving every wound, every image, every night spent staring at ceilings that never gave answers. When the trial loomed, old ghosts returned. Rena Crum, now older and weary, took the stand and withdrew her earlier claims. She said she no longer believed the police had covered up anything. The courtroom became a theater of contradictions, science on one side, faith on the other, and 2 mothers in the middle, holding pictures of girls who should have been women by now. JB would have been 38, maybe married, maybe a mother herself. Tracy might have been a teacher, her soft voice guiding children through the same small schools they once attended. Instead, their names were carved into memory, not milestones. Ozark itself changed in subtle ways. The Big Little store still sells sodas, but no one lingers by the payphone. The BP gas station where the girls once stopped for directions became a ghost landmark. Teenagers drive past Herring Avenue, but never stop there. Even the bravest admit the air feels heavier on that stretch. It's as if the land itself remembers what people try to forget. Sometimes, late at night, old-timers say you can hear echoes, a car door closing, a laugh, the faint sound of a cheerleader's chant carried by the wind. It's not haunting in the ghostly sense, it's haunting in the way guilt lingers when truth arrives too late. The tragedy of J.B. Beasley and Tracy Hollett isn't just in how they died, it's in how the world around them unraveled trying to explain it. False confessions, broken families, police politics, small-town fear, and 20 years of unanswered questions, all for a case that should have been solved the night it happened. When Cole McRaney's name was finally printed across headlines, the townspeople didn't celebrate. They just stared. Some said they felt vindicated, others whispered that maybe he wasn't the only one, because in a place like Ozark, justice is never clean. It arrives late, carrying the weight of every mistake that came before it. Today, McRaney sits behind bars, awaiting judgment. His bond denied. The mothers still visit the graves, still bring flowers that wilt faster than memory. And every August, when the air turns thick and the cicadas sing, Ozark falls silent. For a moment, time folds in on itself. 1999 feels like yesterday, and the sound of 2 girls laughing still floats down Herring Avenue. Some stories are not told in order because truth itself isn't linear. It bends, disappears, resurfaces. The life-taking of J.B. Beasley and Tracy Hollett are not just a crime, they are a mirror reflecting everything a small town can hide. Fear, guilt, love, and the endless ache of what might have been. And somewhere between those echoes and that scarred stretch of road, the story keeps breathing. Because even when the life-taker has a name, the mystery never truly ends. It lingers like headlights fading into the night, like a voice saying, "We'll be home soon," that never reaches the other end of the line. So now you know the twisted truth behind this decades-old mystery. I need to know which part of this story shocked you the most. Tell me if you believe justice was truly served after all these years. Share your own theories about what really happened that night in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Make sure to follow for more true crime stories that will keep you up at night.